and a lot of your listeners have heard a good chunk of it because you've been dropping songs. I know you've got another one coming out July 12th. You just announced with Beck, right?
Yep.
So Beck, but you've also dropped the collab with Willie and Elton and Allison Russell and a handful of others. I mean, I could list them all off, but I think the point is made.
Yeah.
How was this conceived? You just threw a dart at your favorite people in the history of music and said, I want to work with them.
Sort of. Well, Willie asked me to do our cover over 2 years ago now.
Okay.
He invited me onto his tour bus. We were playing a festival together, and we hung out, and we were just having like a cup of coffee together. And he asked me that day, it's the first day I met him, and he asked me if I wanted to do a duet version of "Cowboys Are Frequently Secretly Fond of Each Other," which is sort of the gay cowboy song. He covered it in 2006, I believe, by himself, and then it was originally written in the '80s by Ned Sublette. And so, of course, I'm like, yeah,
Sorry, what did you say?
I mean, I'm still not over that. It's funny, but that was the catalyst for kind of the idea. I mean, I've had the idea for a long time to do a duets album, but I thought it would be something I would do much later.
Yeah.
But then when Willie asked me, I was like, maybe this is the time, like maybe let me see who else is down. And so I think I asked Kylie Minogue second. And she said, yeah. And then I asked Elton and he said, yeah. And then, it just kind of kept going.
How many of them were you fully prepared for no's on?
All of them.
And it didn't happen.
Yeah, no, it didn't.
That is wild.
I know. Well, actually, there's two people I really wanted on it, but they couldn't do it. Charlie Crockett.
Sat in that chair a month ago today or something like that. Yeah.
Charlie's a dear friend, and, we played so many. I've taken him on a tour, back in the day. We've played tons of shows together. It didn't work out with his release schedule, and which is a miracle that 18 other artists it did. Like it's kind of.
But also
insane.
with Charlie, not entirely surprising given how much he releases.
Yeah, he's exactly. I mean, he's like always working, and so I would have loved to have had Charlie, but and then of course Dolly Parton, who we asked, of course, but it's like Dolly's a busy lady as well.
Absolutely, as are most of the people you managed to collaborate with. But I mean, I think that my hope is that the results of these collaborations, which are fantastic, is going to, all the people who have missed out so far won't want to miss out next time.
Yeah, exactly. We'll do the deluxe edition.
That's wild to me, though, that Willie is the one that asked you to do that.
Same. It's
Unreal.
wild to me too.
Willie's, the more I know, the more I talk to musicians kind of in your lane, the more I'm starting to realize that Willie seems to be like quite a mentor.
Yeah, Willie is, he is even more the person that you hope he is. Like, the thing that I loved about Willie all my life was like, I loved the kind of activist and rebellious side of Willie that he always had in his music. I loved that he was like, this like pot smoking Texan who was like, sort of this big advocate for people. And then, you meet him and then you realize like, oh, that's not just like a surface thing. Like he's through and through that person. And it's really comforting. I feel like Willie's like Santa or something. And it's amazing. He takes a lot of people kind of under his wing to help and takes them on like, the Outlaws tour. Like, he's really dialed into like young talent in country music as well. Like he asked me to do his 90th birthday celebration, which is at the Hollywood Bowl, which is like, I don't know if there's been as iconic of a lineup of guests since
some of the pictures are pretty wild. Yeah,
since like the last waltz or something. I mean, it's literally crazy. Like it was insane. The people that were on that bill, and he asked me to go and sing Cowboys. This is before we had recorded the duet together,
right?
Or maybe we recorded it already actually, but it hadn't been announced yet. And it's just really cool to see. That's like a perfect kind of sum of who Willie is, was that birthday performance over those 2 days. Because, you have Neil Young and like all these insane icons and
Yeah.
people you can't even fathom that are there, you know? And then you have like Billy Strings and me and Charlie Crockett and Margot Price and like young people in country that he also loves to bring along. I mean, I can't say enough about Willie. He's really one of a kind and one of the most special people I've ever met. I mean, I'm so happy I get to know him.